This is the basic setup of an essay. You have the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. However, there are 5 different essay writing styles. The first one is your opinion. This style focuses on properly expressing your opinion about a specific topic or subject. Then you have the information style. It focuses on delivering information logically about a specific topic or subject. Then you have the storytelling style. This style focuses on providing an engaging experience for the reader. And you have the prove a point style. It focuses on giving solid or good proof for a point you have about a specific topic or subject. And finally, you have the summary style. And this style focuses on condensing or making smaller or shorter a large amount of information into a smaller piece of information. Now, each style uses a different type of outline. And today, I am going to teach you the 30-day plan that will help you master all 5 styles. Welcome to Speak English with Tiffani. I am teacher Tiffani. Let's jump right in. Days 1 to 6. Now, from days 1 to 6, we are going to focus on the your opinion style. So, day 1, pick and find. For this day, you need to pick one topic from the 10 example topics given. Then you need to find an article to read that discusses that topic. Now, I want to show you something really quickly. Even though I have given you 10 topic examples or ideas right here, you can choose your own if you like. But for this example, for this video, I've chosen number 5. How can a person become successful? So I start out by using this topic example, and I can go to a newspaper, I can go to a magazine, or I can even go online to a blog or some other source. You can also use a book. If you find a book that talks about the topic that you've chosen, you can also use a book as well. Now, the important thing to remember is that reading affects writing. You're trying to learn how to write better in English, which means you need to read more English articles or books or magazines. All right, so step 2, day 2 is analyze and rewrite. For this day, you need to analyze the article. Then you want to rewrite portions of the article in your notebook. This is so you can verify that you understood the article. So again, you see right here, I have highlighted 1, 2, 3 different sections, and I'm transferring them to my notebook. Now, it is important to remember that you need to use your own words. So let me show you an example of what I mean, okay? So right here is the original article, the article that I read. Now, the article has 3 different sections that I've highlighted that I want to analyze. So let's start with this first section and see how I rewrote it. So this is what I wrote. Forbes magazine said that Bill Gates is one of the most successful people in the world. Okay, well, I mentioned Forbes magazine, and Forbes is right here. Then I mentioned Bill Gates, and Bill Gates is right here. And I also said that he was a very successful man, and they have that right here as well. But I didn't use the word according. So I chose to delete that word and to rewrite things in my own words. Then I continued by saying in 2012, he was worth about $76.8 billion. Now, right here, I have 2012, and I also have that right here. Then I said, he is worth $76.8 billion. Now, that's also right here. But what you'll see is they said net worth and approximately. Instead, I said he's worth about. So instead of approximately, I used about. And then I said he is really rich. Now, in the article, they said filthy rich. Filthy rich just means extremely rich. It's an English expression. So I didn't say filthy rich. Instead, I said really rich. So this is how I rewrote the first section of the article I read. Now I continued in the second part right here. So I said a person's aim and purpose affect their success. In other words, it's not just about their money. So in this section, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences. And I only wrote 1, 2 sentences. I rewrote it in my own words. Now, for the third section, for our example, I said the second thing is to write why they want to do it. The third thing is to write down the expected result. So you see I have the second thing and the third thing. In the article, they also mention the second and the third, but theirs is a lot longer than what I wrote because I rewrote it in my own words. This is what you want to practice doing on day 2. So let's keep going to day 3. Imitate and summarize. For this day, you need to read through the article again and find 3 to 5 new patterns. Then you will summarize the article in 10 sentences or more using at least 2 to 3 of the patterns you found. So, as you'll notice, in this example, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different patterns that will be applied to the summary that I will do of the article, okay? Now, I want you to remember that this summary right here is not the summary essay style that we're going to go over later. This is summarizing an article, which means it's just a short summary, okay? For practice, this is a short summary. So you need to remember also to pick 3 key points. Okay, let me show you an example of this. So on the left side, you'll see the original article. Now, this is a very long article that I read through because I wanted to show you how to summarize. So in the center right here, you'll see that we have the breakdown for how to summarize an article, okay, a short summary. So first we have the main purpose, then we have the key points, and then we have your opinion. Now you'll also notice that I have +1 pattern. That means in each section of your summary, you're going to try to use 1 pattern from the article that you read. Now it's very tiny, but I still will underline. This is 1 pattern. It says not simply on. It means not only or not just one. Then we have the compass. Remember, a compass is used for direction, okay? And then we have true success. So I'm going to take these patterns and apply them to my summary over here. And we see true success, not simply based on, and also have the compass. So let's look at my summary real quick. The main purpose. It says, this article focused on explaining the writer's definition of true success. So I've given the main purpose right there. Continue. It mentioned that success is not simply based on money, and it talked about a few different types of success various people want. Who and what. So various people and what they want, all right? But the writer did quote Forbes magazine and said how much Bill Gates, a very successful man, was worth in 2012. So I've mentioned when, 2012, I've mentioned where, and I've mentioned why. Where in Forbes magazine and why he's very successful, all right? So this first section of my summary is done. Now the second section, we started off, it says, there were 3 key points in the article. Well, right here, the number of key points, done. First, you must write down your goals. Point number 1, done. Second, you must write down the reasons for your goals. Point number 2, done. Third, you must write down the expected results. Point number 3, done. Finally, these were the 3 key points. The summary. Remember, a summary is very, very short when you're summarizing an article, not an essay form, just summarizing an article. So this section for the key points is done. And finally, your opinion section. We say, at the end of the article, it said these 3 things have the compass that will lead to true success. Right here, the conclusion. And I completely agree. My opinion. So your opinion goes there. So all 3 of these sections can be found in my summary of the original article. Okay, this is how you do for day 3. Now, let's go on to day number 4. decide and research. For this day, you need to decide what your opinion is on the topic. Then you need to do research to find support for your opinion. And finally, you'll fill in the outline with the information. Remember, day 1, 2, and 3 were focused on someone else's opinion, some article that you read. But now you're going to go into your opinion and writing your own ideas. Now, it's important that you apply the information you found to the outline. So let's look at the outline for the your opinion style. Now, on the left, right here, this is the important outline for the first essay writing style. All right, so we have 3 sections. The first section is introduction. Second section is the body. And the third section is your conclusion. Now, for the introduction section, there's 3 parts. So, definition or general explanation, your opinion stated briefly, and 3 supports. So let's go over here. Remember before we chose how to be successful as the topic that we were going to use for this week, okay? All right, so the first thing is definition or general explanation. Well, I said success is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. That's the definition that I gave, all right? Then next, my opinion. You become successful by believing in yourself. That's my opinion, okay? Now, 3 supports. I'm going to give an example of Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King, and Usain Bolt. Those are my 3 supports, okay? All right, now let's move on to the second section of our outline, the body. So we have 3 details about support number 1. Well, support number 1 was Steve Jobs. So right here, Steve Jobs, I have 1, believed he could create a better computer. 2, started Apple. And 3, one of the top computers, which is the computer he created. Those are the 3 details about my support, which was Steve Jobs. Then Martin Luther King. Very quickly, he believed he could change society. He helped to stop segregation, and he was the leader of the civil rights movement. Now, I want to pause real quick. Remember, what you're doing right now is organizing your thoughts. Before you write a paper in English, you must have a clear idea of what you want to say and the order in which you want to say it. This outline is going to help you so much when you start writing, okay? All right, next we have Usain Bolt. And I said, believed he could beat world records, broke world records, and he became the fastest man in the world, okay? So section 2 is done. Now section 3, the conclusion section. Restate your opinion. So right here, I said, the foundation of success is believing in yourself. Well, I am restating my opinion. Why? Because up here, I said believing in yourself, okay? All right, now the next thing is to summarize your points. The greatest examples are Steve Jobs, MLK, Martin Luther King, and Usain Bolt. I've summarized them. And finally, write my final statement. The last thing that I want to say, that you want to say. Believe in yourself and you can succeed at anything. Now, this is the outline I'm going to use to write my essay or my paper talking about my opinion. All right, now, day 5, write and rewrite. For this day, you need to write the first draft of your essay based on your outline, okay? The outline that we did. Then you need to rewrite the same essay again. Now, this is the part that may be a bit shocking because right here, you've already written your essay. Why do you have to write it again? You see, what happens is when you rewrite your essay, you actually find points in your essay that you want to change, things that you want to maybe eliminate or emphasize. That is the key for this day. Eliminate and emphasize. Maybe there's a word that you want to say a different way, so you change it on this side. Or maybe you feel like one point of your paper was going a little bit into too much detail and you wanted to take it out. That's why you rewrite. And when you rewrite, it makes you have a better paper. Now, for time, we're going to keep going to save time. Day 6, review. For this day, your main focus is reviewing what you did over the past 5 days. You can review the parts that you feel you need to practice more, and you can also practice with different topics. So it's up to you how you want to review on this day. All right, now, days 7 to 12, the information essay style. Now, remember, in our past week, days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I expressed in detail what you had to do. Actually, there are similarities for days 7 to 12. Now, here's what we're going to do. So, day 7 and day 10 are different, but day 8, day 9, and day 11 are the same as day 2, day 3, and day 5. Now, day 12 is a little bit different because on this day, you simply have to relax. You don't study, you don't write anything, you just relax. Remember, your brain needs time to relax as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at day 7 and look at the different topics we have. And also we're going to look at day 10 to see the outline style for information essays. Okay. All right. So let's jump right in. Remember, day 7 is the first thing. All right. Pick and find. For this day, again, you need to pick one topic from the 10 topic examples given. Then you need to find an article to read that discusses that topic. Well, up until this point, everything seems the same, but you'll notice right here that these topics are different. Remember, we're talking about the information style, okay? So it's not about your opinion, it's about giving information. So some examples I gave were a famous person in history, all about water, wonders of the world, the brain, plants, tropical animals, modern technology, the power of the ocean, America or another country, or ancient architecture. Now remember, you can choose a different topic, okay? You can choose a different topic, but these example topics will give you kind of a head start, okay? A head start as you prepare and study and improve your writing skills. Now, for this one, I chose all about water, which was number 2. This is the one I want to focus on for our example, okay? So we're going to skip to day number 10. Remember, day 8 and 9 are the same as the previous week. So decide and research. For this day, you need to get the important information on the topic. Remember, we chose all about water. Then you need to do research to find the main aspects of the topic. Finally, you're going to fill in the outline with that information. So I chose water. So I'm going to be looking for aspects of water, okay? I'm looking for aspects of water. And the important thing you need to remember is to apply this information to the outline. All right, so let's look at the information outline. This is the outline you are going to use for the information essay style. Now, don't worry. You can download the PDF that explains all of this by clicking the link in the description, okay? So don't worry, but let's keep going. All right, so this is also broken up into 3 different sections. We have the introduction section, the body section, and the conclusion section. Now, in the introduction section, you'll notice that the first thing is give a general statement about the topic. So what I've done is over here, I've given a fact. I said 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Well, that's a general statement about water. Then the second thing is the background, the 5 W's. Remember the who, what, when, where, and why. So what I did was I said for who, all living things. What, need water. When, daily. Where, the world, and why, to survive. Okay, these are facts about water and animals and human beings that need water. Then 3 main aspects of water: natural springs, lakes and rivers, and the ocean. So the introduction is giving kind of a precursor or information in advance about the topic we're going to discuss, okay? Now, let's go down to the body. So I need to give aspect 1, 2, and 3 and pick 1 W to talk about for each aspect. So let's go here and let's see what I did. So for natural springs, one aspect I chose to use was attributed to or applied to when, and I said, In the past, people would drink from them. Then I went to lakes and rivers and I chose what? And I said, many are polluted these days. And finally, the ocean. I said, where? I said 96.5% of all the world's water is there. So I've picked one W for each of the aspects. And finally, the conclusion, all right? Remember, this is what you're also going to do on this day. Now I need to restate the aspects, say the lesson learned, and the future. So this is what you're going to do. This is the example I've given. Natural springs, lakes and rivers, and the ocean. Then for lesson learned, water is important and it is everywhere. And the future, our water sources need to be protected. So I've given all of the information necessary for the information essay style outline, okay? And then I can write an amazing paper based on this outline in this order. All right, so let's go on to days 13 to 18, the storytelling style. Now, again, like before, day 1 to day 6, we went over in detail each section. Now, for days 13 to 18, we'll see the similarities. So, day 14 is the same as day 2, day 15 is the same as day 3, and day 18 is the same as day 6. But day 13 and day 16 are different because the topics and the outline style are different. And on day 17 is a little different because I want to give you an example of how to write a story. I've had some students in my past classes who had trouble writing stories, so I want to actually show you an example, okay? So let's jump right into this part. Day 13, pick and find. For this day, you need to pick one topic from the 10 example topics given. Then you need to find an article to read that discusses that topic. Now, this is again very similar, but what you'll see right here is I've given you 10 examples of a story type that you can look for. It can be a story about love or friendship or family, travel, school life, work life, fear, success, adventure, kindness, or anything else. All right, so what I did was I chose to do a story about travel, okay? So I decided to use number 4 and do a story about travel, which means that I had to go to the internet or to a newspaper or to a magazine and find a story or article that talked about travel, okay? Now, remember, reading affects writing. So if I read a good story, it'll affect my writing style as well. So day 16, remember, we're skipping forward. Day 16, decide and set up. For this day, you need to decide what your story is going to be about, okay? Then you need to set up the basic information for your story. And finally, fill in the outline with the information. Okay, so you'll notice in this section right here, the setup of the story. This is the general setup you're going to use when you're setting up a story because you have to determine the basic story, determine the background, the characters, the climax, the conclusion, and the lesson learned. Now, it's important to apply this information to your outline. So let's look at the outline for a storytelling. Now, it's basically what I just showed you. However, I want to explain these to you. You see, the basic story gives the focus and the main idea. The background gives the details about the setting. The characters introduce the people to the story. The climax gives the problem to be solved. The conclusion tells how the story ends. Okay, you're going to tell how the story ends. And lesson learned, explain what you learned. Okay. All right. So remember, I chose a story about travel. So my story needs to be about travel. So I'm going to choose for my basic story, I'm going to say a young man who traveled around the world with his friends. For the background, I'm going to say Paris. For the characters, I'm going to choose John, his friends, and a taxi driver. They met in Paris. For the climax, I'm going to say a car accident in the middle of the night. For the conclusion, they had no money, but they made lots of friends. And the lesson learned, I'm going to say, always do the right thing and good things will happen. So again, before I even started writing my story, I actually have all of the information in my outline. So Let's keep going to day 17 because I want to show you an example of this. Write and rewrite. Remember, for this day, you need to write the first draft of your story based on your outline. Then you need to rewrite the same story again. And I've explained why that's important, okay? Eliminating and emphasizing. So let's look at my story and see how it turned out. Here we go. A story about travel. Last year, John and his friends decided to take a trip around the world. They visited tons of countries, but one of their favorite places was Paris. It was beautiful. Okay, so what's happened? In this section right here, I've already given you the basic story and the background. Let's keep going. They loved all of the museums and the people, but one night something happened that they would never forget. After a night of hanging out, they were driving along a dark road. Then suddenly they slammed into the back of a taxi. For a moment, they thought about speeding off, but then they saw that the driver had been hurt. So instead, they decided to stay and take responsibility for what they had done. They called for help and took the taxi driver to the hospital. Then they paid for his entire medical bill. Okay, let's pause really quickly. The story is going to continue, but we have the characters, we have the climax. Now we're waiting for the conclusion. Let's keep going. A few days later, after the taxi driver had recovered, he thanked them over and over again for not leaving him on the side of the road. He introduced them to his family, and they all spent a wonderful time together. So again, what was my conclusion? No money, but they made lots of friends. So in this section right here, that's where I have shown that to be true, right? In this section right here, okay? Let's close this one off right there. Now we need the lesson learned. The last sentence says, so even though the young men had no more money, they did have some new friends. So this right here is the lesson learned. I've told a great story because I have all of these in my story from the storytelling outline. Okay, great job. Let's keep going. Now we're going to days 19 to 24, the prove a point essay style. Now, again, so day 1 to day 6, we looked at in detail. So for days 19 to 24, let's see where the similarities are. So day 20 is similar to day 2, day 21 is similar to day 3, and day 23 is similar to day 5. Now, day 24 is just a relaxed day. I know you will enjoy that. All right. Now, for day 19 and day 22, we have different topics and a different outline. So let's jump right in it. Day 19 and day 22. All right, day 19, pick and find. For this day, you need to pick one topic from the 10 example topics given. Then you need to find an article to read that discusses that topic. Again, same as the previous ones, okay? So right here we have 10 example topics. Now, what you'll notice here is that I have underlined certain parts of these examples. The reason I underlined them is because you can change this part. For example, I said, all children should learn how to play sports. Well, you can change that. You can say all children should learn how to play music or play a musical instrument. Okay, you can change that part. So it's up to you. Now, again, these are just examples to kind of give you a head start when you're trying to practice and improve your writing skills. Okay. All right. Now, for this example, though, what I did was I decided to choose no television for young children, which actually is number 5, okay? Number 5 is what I chose to use for my example, okay? And again, reading affects writing. So I'm going to read an article that talks about children not watching television. Okay, so day 22, decide and research. For this day, you need to decide your position. Then you need to do research to find examples that support your arguments. Finally, you will fill in the outline with the information, okay, by applying the information to the outline. Now, here you notice it says argument number 1, number 2, and number 3. So let's look at an example, okay, for the prove a point outline. Now, this is the outline that you will use for this essay style, okay? We have the first section, introduction, then the body, and then the conclusion. Now, What you'll notice is when you're trying to prove a point, the introduction is a little bit different. All right, so right here, you see it says attention grabber. Now, I explained this in my series on how to write an essay. You can click the link in the top right of the screen if you want to find out more about that. But an attention grabber, the purpose of an attention grabber is just to get the attention of the reader, all right? So for my attention grabber, I chose to give a fact, all right? So we have the fact right here. Birth to age 3 sees the fastest rate of brain development in the entire human lifespan. This is a fact that I found online. All right, now the next thing is your thesis statement. So my opinion. So what happened? Let's circle that right there. Watching television too early is not good for babies. That's my opinion. That's my point. Then 3 arguments. Right here, I said they zone out when watching TV. TV lowers their attention span and can make them violent, okay? Those are my 3 arguments. Now I move down into the body section right here. And the purpose is to give a detail and an example for each of my arguments. All right, so let's get started now. Argument number 1. They zone out when watching. So, detail, staring at the screen. Example, my nephew watching commercials. All right, let's keep going. Lowers their attention span, fast moving pictures. That's the detail. And my friend's daughter can't sit still during reading time. That's the example. So you notice for the next one, I did the same thing, can make them violent. I said, showing aggressive behavior. And then example, on the news, a child found a weapon and hurt another child. All right, and finally, now for the conclusion section. So what happens? I need to restate, summarize, and write my final statement. So restate, children should not watch television. And summarize, zone out, low attention span, increased violence. And final statement, television is not bad, but it should be limited for children. All right, so I've filled out the outline for the prove a point essay style, and now I can write my essay based on this outline. All right, let's move on to the final days 25 to 30, the summary essay style. All right, so again, we have these 6 that we already went over. Now, day 25 to day 30. So day 26, day 27, and day 30, they are the same as day 2, 3, and 6. And day 29 is where I'm going to give you all an example of how to do a proper summary to help you all, because some of you have to do summaries for school. And day 25 and day 28 are a little different because, again, their topics and their outline style are different, okay? All right, day 25, pick and find. So for this day, you need to pick one topic from the 10 example topics. Then you need to find an article to read that discusses that topic. So for this one, here are the 10 example topics. And I also included them in the free PDF. So don't worry, they're in the PDF. The link is in the description. But I chose examples, for example, that dealt with health or sleeping habits or weather or current events, finance, art and music, fashion, entertainment, sports, book reviews. These are the type of articles that you can look up when you want to practice doing this style. But what I chose was articles on the benefits of healthy eating, okay? Again, remember, reading affects writing. So day 28, remember we fast forwarded because 26 and 27 were the same. All right, skim and arrange. Now, this word skim, remember, skim just means to read over briefly or quickly, okay? To read over quickly. Let's do this cue like this, quickly, okay? So skim and arrange. For this day, you need to skim through the article again, looking for important points. Then you need to arrange the information in order of importance. And finally, you will fill in the outline with the information. Now, arranging the information. There are going to be lots of points in the article that seem to be important, but you need to arrange them in their order of importance, and you need to find out which ones to keep and which ones to eliminate, okay? This is why this step is so important, all right? Okay, so look for the most important pieces of information. Don't forget that. So here's an example for the summary outline. Remember, This on the left right here is what the outline looks like for the summary essay style. Again, we have the introduction section, the body section, and the conclusion section. Now, remember, this is completely separate from the previous summary we did. This is a summary essay style. All right, so let's get started. So first we have the main purpose. And what did I do? To explain the benefits of eating healthy. That's the main purpose. Then the 5 W's. So I have for who, I wrote all adults. For what, I wrote how to eat healthy. For when, written last year. For where, in the USA. And for why, many adults were sick. So the introduction is done. Now moving on to the body. I need to write the number of key points, each point plus the description, and then the summary of the key points. So looking here in the body section, I wrote, I have 3 key points. Then I wrote each point right here, and then next to it, I wrote the description in this section. So key point 1 gives more energy. Then I said, used throughout the day. Point 2, helps people think better. Description, enhances concentration. And helps prevent disease is number 3, and I said provides needed nutrients, okay? Now for the summary, I just said it's above. Remember, the outline is just my notes or your notes before you write your essay. And finally, the conclusion. You're going to describe the ending and then give your opinion. So here we go. Eating healthy is important for all adults. Then I also have, it emphasized that food affects a person's life. So I'm giving the ending of the article. And then finally, my opinion. I realized the importance of eating healthy. So I will use this to write my summary of the article that talked about the benefits of eating healthy. Now, write and rewrite. For this day, you need to write the first draft of your summary based on your outline. Then you need to rewrite the same summary again, eliminating and emphasizing. So let's jump right into the example. All right, so you see right here we have the outline, right? Now, let's jump into how I summarized. Remember, the article was about eating healthy. So, introduction, main purpose. Well, where's my main purpose? This article was written in order to show the benefits of eating healthy. Very good, that's my main purpose. Now I'm looking for the 5 W's. Where are they? It focused mainly on all adults who live and work in America. The article made a point to show how they can eat healthy, especially on a daily basis. It was written on December 20th of last year, which was close to Christmas. The exact place that the article talked about was the United States, which we already have right here, America, which is quite populated. It focused on America because so many American adults were sick last year. So we've answered the why, the what, the where, the when, and the who. Now we're going to move to the body section. Okay, the number of key points. The article included many important points, but there were 3 key points. Done. Next, each key point plus a description. The first key point was eating healthy gives more energy that can be used throughout the day. Done. The second key point was eating healthy helps people think better by enhancing their ability to concentrate while working. Good. And finally, the third key point was eating healthy helps prevent diseases by providing the body with the nutrients that it needs. Done. Now the summary of the key points. These were the 3 key points or major points stated in the article. Done. But I also added, in general, the article used these points to encourage adults to think about their health more. Great. Now this is done as well. Now finally, the conclusion. Describe the ending and your opinion. So I said, the last portion of the article said that eating healthy is important for all adults. Done. It emphasized, once again, that the food a person eats will affect their entire life. Now my opinion. After reading this article, I also began to realize the importance of eating healthy. So we have completely written our summary because we followed the summary style outline. Now, you will master all 5 styles. Now remember, if you want to download this 30-day plan, please click the link in the description. This download includes all of the information from this video, including all of the example topics, so you can follow it from day 1 all the way to day 30 and improve your English writing skills. And remember to look to the left of your screen and watch another of my English video lessons that is just for you. And as always, remember to speak English.